Anyways, we talk about his brand new beer. We talk about the upcoming tour. Oh, by the way, near the end of the interview, he kind of teases as to what he has coming up at the end of the year, which sounds pretty cool. It's real cryptic, but check it out for yourself and see what you think. In the meantime, I was connected with Dave Mustaine from Megadeth.
I'm doing good. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Hey, first of all, this has been bugging me ever since the last time we talked, but I owe you an apology. Last time we talked, I asked you about the Metallica song, and I think I unknowingly painted you into a corner, and I apologize. The reason I asked you about that song was because I don't know what your relationship is with the guys right now, but I thought it was thrashy and heavy, and I was just looking for your opinion, and it was my fault, and it's been bothering me ever since. So I just wanted to say I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
So, anyways, let's get on to other things like your beer and such, and your boot camp and Grammys and all sorts of stuff. You have a lot of things going on in the world of Megadeth. If I'm not mistaken, you're going to be here in Detroit at Joe Louis Arena coming up on Friday.
Yep, a couple days from now, we're going to be hanging out with all of our friends and watching one of the last games at the Joe.
Yeah, last time you were at Joe Louis Arena, man, that show was awesome. I was mesmerized. Your stage set and the songs were really good, and it was a kick-ass show.
Oh, thanks.
So that was a great tour too, man. There was some kick-ass bands on that bill.
Yeah, we actually had a really good run the last couple of times through the States. You're talking about the one with Amon Amarth and Suicidal?
Yes.
Yeah, that certainly was a good tour. I agree.
So anyways, yeah, you'll be in town this coming Friday, and I don't know if I think you liked my tweet that I sent you over the weekend, but I sent my wife out on a mission to get your beer because I saw that. I had to do some show prep, right? You got to do show prep, but I thought it was really good, man. Yeah. I'm not a huge beer drinker. I'm not a huge craft beer drinker because I'm the kind of guy where when I drink like 3 beers, I gain like about 8 pounds. So I try to do other things, but it was really good. The Belgium style, 4.5% alcohol. I cracked open some beers with my buddies and stuff. Tell us all about how this whole process was started.
Well, this happened, it was associated with the symphony gig I did back in 2014. The person who was setting up the symphony thing had said, prior to us even agreeing about setting it up, someone had said something shitty saying that metal guys can't play classical, and I thought, that's absolutely ridiculous. Of course we can. So we did the show. Everything turned out great, and we made some wine in the process to kind of, be a social lubricant for everybody. And then we continued to do the wine after that, and I thought, it would be really great to do something that I like doing, during the day when I'm thirsty. I naturally I'm going to gravitate towards reaching for a beer, not reaching for a glass of wine. And that's where that all started. We looked and then finally found a company that we liked. Of course, it was up in Quebec, but it don't matter because it's so close to you guys there. It gives us a reason to pop in on our way up and down.
Well, it's in Quebec, but I mean, this song, A Tout Le Monde, is obviously French and stuff. So I don't know. Was there some, something at play there?
There was. I'd like to say that, this was some huge thought-out plan, but it wasn't. I was a kid that liked the Beatles, that heard the song Michelle, and then at some point thought that, I would sing in a foreign language. Now, I really liked the way that A Tout Le Monde turned out. We tried it in a bunch of different languages, though, and some were good, some were pretty horrific. Like I remember trying... the French and the Spanish were easy, but we tried 2 other languages, and that was the end of it. I tried German, and then I tried Japanese. And after trying both of those 2 languages and having both of them fail just abysmally, just the way that they sounded, we ended up sticking with French.
Yeah. I was telling my wife about over the weekend, as you saw, that she got me some beer. And so we were driving to dinner the other day with my kids, and my kids are 13 and 15. And I played the song for them. And I said, what do you guys think of this song? And my son says, I don't know what he's saying. which I guess is to be expected, right? But as I was listening to this song, and I've heard the song a bunch of times, and I'll tell you what, it's honestly one of my favorites. I just love the chord progression. I just love everything about it, But it's like I was listening to it in that car that day after hearing it hundreds of times, and I'm thinking to myself, you really sang that song. You know what I'm saying? And not that you don't sing other songs, but you really sang that song. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Thank you for that.
Yeah, what a great song. And I'll tell you what, the beer is great. So you're going to be at the Unibrew booth, I guess, this coming Friday night for the hockey game. Is that your plan? Do you know exactly your itinerary or what's going on yet?
I don't know how they're going to do it, but I am going to be there. And we are going to be, hanging out with the fans and talking hockey and Megadeth and beer. And I'm excited because, who's not a Red Wing fan if you like hockey? I remember being a fan ever since Chuck Beeler was in the band and back before the pizza guy got him. and before they had that huge dynasty run. It's neat for me to be able to sit back and say, I've been watching them for the last 20 years and just seeing, how a dynasty works. But, the whole thing from Scotty Bowman on up until now, that's going to be really fun for us to be able to say hello to the fans and just, shake babies and kiss hands. You know what I mean?
Now, you say us. Are you bringing, is Dave Ellefson or anything coming with you, or just you, or what?
No. Ellefson isn't part of this.
Okay.
He does his Ellefson coffee stuff, which is great. Good coffee, too. I encourage any of our fans that are listening to this that they give it a whirl and see if they like it or not.
Yeah, and then Saturday, you're going to be up at the machine shop. When was the last time you were in the machine shop? Do you remember?
God, I don't remember.
Well, you played there, several years ago, I'm sure, as every band pretty much has, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Kevin's a great guy, and that's a cool place to go, and you'll be meet and greeting with fans up there and spreading the A Tout Le Monde beer around. Hey, let's switch gears here real fast to your rock and roll boot camp. We got a link up at WRIF.com, which explains the whole thing. And this is pretty cool. In a nutshell, how would you explain it to the listeners?
I would say it's pretty much like a slumber party at Dave's house, and you just get to hang out and ask questions and jam. We're going to do some really cool stuff where it's going to go all the way from, when you first meet us, a little bit of some question and answer stuff, to having meals together, to playing songs together, to being able to have your own personal private recording session. If you want to try singing Symphony of Destruction, we're going to have the studio set up. So this is a feature to one of the packages where you order a different pack. You go in, you sing the song, and then, half hour later, when your session's up, we start piecing together the mix, and then you'll have for yourself your own studio professional quality version of you singing Symphony of Destruction. And then at the very end, last night, we're going to have everybody sitting in one area trying to get us all to play Symphony of Destruction for the grand finale, which I think will be great to have, a couple dozen, hopefully, 100 or more people all playing Symphony of Destruction at once. I think would be just smashing.
Yeah, that sounds cool. That's taking place March 10th through the 12th. Now, this is all at your place in Southern California, eh?
Right.
Yeah, and people get to
got a house in Tennessee too that I'm in right now talking to you, but the boot camp's going to happen in California.
Yeah, and people can literally, and I'm not even kidding, camp in your backyard.
Yeah, it's big enough place too, cool enough too, so that it's not like you're 7 or 8 years old and you're camping with your little brother in the backyard, and it's not even remotely camp-like. It's in a park, so it's really super bitchin'.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we're all going to be there. The first day, we're going to basically do some Q&A and hang out, and then have dinner, sample some of the A Tout Le Monde beer, have some food. The next day, going to start off with a little quiet time with David Ellefson, since he's been, in the program for almost 30 years, we thought we'd start off with something really cool, spiritually uplifting, and everybody just kind of hang out with him, and then start off onto all the clinics: bass guitar, bass guitar, drums, lead guitar, singing, how to write vocals, how to travel, all kinds of really neat, interesting things for touring. And then we were going to do a trip over by the vineyard where the Mustaine wine is made. And that night, we were going to have, I think it's storytelling at the fireplace, s'mores and storytelling. And then the second day is a bunch more different types of clinics and stuff. And that day starts off with David Ellison, who's a pastor. He's going to be doing a non-denominational service that morning. And then that evening we'll have dinner with wine that night instead of the beer from the night before. And then the next day, the last day, is when everybody gets everything rounded up and says their goodbyes and takes pictures and everything. I'm pretty excited about it because we're going to have really great security for everybody that's there, that's afraid of the wild animals and stuff, and really beautiful hosts and hostesses, and the food's going to be good. The weather's going to be amazing. It's San Diego.
Yeah.
San Diego's like 80 degrees all year round. So,
listen, don't rub it in, okay?
Well, come on down, man.
I should. It's my birthday, actually, March 10th, so I should get down there and do that. But, man, that sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, when you were growing up as a kid, if you could have had something like this, what rock stars would you have wanted to have a boot camp with?
Led Zeppelin or AC/DC.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty simple answer for you. You mentioned the Michelle with the Beatles a little while ago for some of the. It's funny because I talked to a high school today full of broadcast students, and I would say to them, hey, I talked to Jerry Cantrell. Who knows who he is? And like one person raised their hand. So it's like I'm getting older by the day. But like some people don't know that Michelle, and the whole thing with the French lyrics and whatnot. Would you say that the Beatles were really what got you the music to begin with?
Well, they certainly influenced me as far as songwriting is concerned. Guitar playing, I look at my musical, what I do musically in two different ways. There's how I do it, and there's the what. That is what I do. So the what, I believe, would be contributable to, like, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, stuff like that. The how would be more along the lines of the British, the new wave of British heavy metal, which was, really aggressive, riff-oriented guitar playing.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would have been cool to do something with Led Zeppelin, for sure. Did you read the book Hammer of the Gods?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. A very long time ago. So,
yeah.
It's crazy. Sometimes you read books that are so good you have to read them twice. And I was just thinking about, there was a couple of books I wanted to read again, and Hammer of the Gods is one of them, because I was thinking of this crazy book. I don't know if you've ever heard the story called The Shack. Did you ever hear that story?
Oh.
It's a very, very morbid story. I love to read, and I think that's one of the things that our fans really appreciate about me is I encourage them to really stretch their mind to get around the ideas of a lot of our songs. Like, for example, we have a song with the word indiciphobia in it, which means it's the fear of being criticized. And, we all have that to a degree, right? We're all afraid of being criticized, but, most people don't know what that word is. So I think that that's a really cool thing with Megadeth music. We push the boundaries musically as well as lyrically.
Yeah, and as I was talking to you before, some of your songs were so prophetic, like Holy Wars and stuff like that. It's unbelievable how much that stuff that you could almost see coming, Yeah. But I just listened to an interview. Yeah, I just listened to an interview the other day with Henry Rollins. Have you ever met him?
I have, but we did not speak for a long period of time. It was kind of basically, hey, hi.
Oh, okay. Because I just thought you guys would get along so great. He reads a lot, too, and he's real thought out and real, deliberate in what he says and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears to the Grammys real fast. Dystopia up for Grammys. How excited are you about that?
I'm really, really excited. It's hard after getting nominated several times to not become a little bit jaded, because this is our 12th nomination, and it's great to be nominated. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's also very bittersweet, because a lot of people would question, do I want to go there again and not get chosen to win? And I think it's great to be nominated, even if you don't win, because you get that recognition from all of your peers, and people get to see it and stuff like that may not know who you are. I do think that it's kind of a drag sometimes when people win that are so obvious that they weren't supposed to win. There have been some times over the years, not just the ones that I was in, but some other ones where the bands won and they had nothing to do with metal. I think the most famous one was the Jethro Tull one.
Right. Yeah, nobody forgets about that one in 1989 or whatever that was. Yeah. Well, good luck on that. What's the biggest award you think that you've ever received?
Well, there's a lot of different ones. I've just got a Lifetime Achievement Award from Revolver, and I've got this one that was pretty different because it's off the beaten path. It was called the Genesis Award, which was from Debbie Reynolds, and was it Debbie Reynolds? No. Let me think if that was her name. It was for prevention to the cruelty to animals. It was something we had done. I thought it was really great. It came through Countdown to Extinction, and what was her name? It wasn't Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, she's the one that just died, right? Isn't that Debbie Reynolds?
Yeah, I think that was her, but it wasn't her. So it's someone that kind of reminds me of her. I've got the award here somewhere. I've got some of the awards.
Well, you and your wife do so much charitable stuff,
We try to. I think it's good to do if you can afford to share with people who are less fortunate. I just think that that good, what goes around comes around kind of thing,
Yeah.
I think it's really a cool thing to give to other people, because when I was homeless, man, it was a bitch.
Yeah, I can imagine. Man,
the Genesis Award. Okay, so there was that one, and then there was another one that was called the Clio. We just won. The Clio is an advertising one that bands usually don't win. This is something like Honda won and McDonald's and stuff like this, but it was for really creative business marketing. What we did with the virtual reality songs we did at the beginning of the campaign, we had filmed, I think it was maybe 5 songs or something in the studio in LA, and they were included in a set that had a piece of cardboard you could fold and configure into a mask, sort of, so to speak, where you could slide your camera in and turn it into a three-dimensional kind of Oculus Rift kind of thing where you can watch the band playing in 3D.
Yeah, that was kick-ass. I remember texting you a picture. I let my son try that out, and he was mesmerized by that thing. It's a really cool way to expose people to your music. Doris Day, okay.
Doris Day was the name.
That was going to bother you the whole time, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I try to be really factual with the stuff that I say in my interviews and shit, because so many people, they just flat out lie.
Well,
say. So I try and be pretty honest.
I hear you there. Well, listen, a final thing for you here. I just interviewed Tia Carrere yesterday, and it's going to be the 25th anniversary of Wayne's World, if you can believe that, coming up here in just a couple of weeks here. But what is your favorite rock? Wow. What is your favorite rock and roll movie, or your favorite, documentary, or anything like that?
Well, obviously, you're talking about Wayne's World. That's a great one, and for me, Spinal Tap is the be all end all rockumentary, because if you weren't a musician and you just kind of came into the room late and you watched that movie. Of course, it's funnier than shit, but it's painfully funny because it's true,
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've been someplace and the goddamn meat doesn't fit the bread.
I was talking to Frankie Bonelli last week from Quiet Riot. I told him the first time I saw that movie, I was like 13 or 14 and didn't understand it. But after all these years, it's painfully obvious, like you say.
Yeah. Welcome to the real world.
That's right. Well, listen, Dave, it's always great to pick your brain and get your time. And A Tout Le Monde beer, of course, you're going to be at the Joe Louis Arena on Friday nights as the Wings are in action. You'll be at the Machine Shop in Flint on Saturday. And good luck with the Grammys, and good luck touring this summer. And only a couple festival dates here in the United States this summer, but you'll still be touring the world. So
we've got, believe it or not, we've got some cool things going on for the States. Just a real quick last parting shot.
Sure.
We've got two really great things we're going to be doing. We're going to be heading out as some part of the spring or summer, and then we're told about an opportunity in the end of the year that really, really excited me. Somebody I've never played with before, that we're actually going to be supporting. They were so cool that we would step down from being a headliner to support this group.
Wow. So, all right, so you're giving us a tease.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'll tell you as soon as I can.
All right, Dave. Well, listen, man, good luck at the Grammys and everything else. The beer is fantastic. We'll push everybody to the boot camp on the website at WRIF.com and, of course, Megadeth.com. And, man, I'll tell you what,
Thank you.
The guy never stops moving. He never stops doing stuff. So we appreciate the time, Dave.
You got it, pal. Take it easy.
Dave Mustaine coming